Area 51 files released. What the government finally admitted. For decades, Area 51 has been the epicenter of conspiracy theories, government secrecy, and wild speculation. Known officially as Groom Lake, this remote stretch of desert in Nevada has long been suspected of housing extraterrestrial technology and alien life forms. But as of today, that narrative is only a small fraction of what the newly declassified files reveal. The government's historic release of thousands of documents related to Area 51 has sent shockwaves through the scientific community, military analysts, and conspiracy theorists alike. The files provide unprecedented insight into the secretive activities conducted at the base, activities far beyond the realm of UFOs and aliens. According to the documents, what has truly been hidden beneath the desert sands are a series of groundbreaking military experiments, involving advanced technologies that blur the lines between science fiction and reality. These projects, conducted in strict secrecy for over 70 years, have reshaped how we understand aerospace, physics, and even human capabilities. A new narrative emerges. The released files detail the evolution of Area 51 from a simple testing site for the U-2 spy plane in the 1950s into a sprawling research and development hub for next-generation military technologies. Rather than focusing solely on extraterrestrial encounters, the documents reveal an extensive portfolio of secret experiments, including hypersonic flight tests involving prototypes capable of speeds exceeding Mach 20, employing propulsion systems that defy conventional aerodynamics. Directed energy weapons development, including lasers and microwave systems designed to incapacitate or destroy targets at vast distances. Experimental stealth technologies that manipulate radar, infrared, and even visual detection, creating near-invisible craft and equipment. Biotechnology enhancements aimed at augmenting human soldiers, from neural interface devices to advanced exoskeleton suits. Quantum communication experiments attempting to develop unhackable, instantaneous communication across any distance. The files even hint at collaborative programs with private aerospace firms and technology companies operating under classified contracts. The alien question. Answered? Of course, the alien question remains one of the most hotly debated topics. The newly released documents confirm that while no direct contact with extraterrestrial beings has been publicly validated, there were multiple investigations into unexplained aerial phenomena, UAPs, that remain classified. Some reports within the files mention recovered materials of unknown origin, but with no conclusive evidence of alien technology. Instead, many of these materials appear to be early prototypes of experimental craft developed in secrecy, designs that pushed the limits of known physics. What's clear from the files is that the government prioritized maintaining the secrecy of these technologies by attributing many sightings to aliens and UFOs to mislead potential foreign intelligence agencies. The myth of extraterrestrials became a cover story to protect sensitive national security projects. The desert labs. Inside the experiments. The documents describe several clandestine test sites within the vast Area 51 perimeter, each specializing in different technological domains. Site Alpha. Hypersonic flight research. Here, engineers and pilots tested vehicles equipped with scramjet engines and advanced heat shield materials. The files include flight logs describing successful atmospheric re-entries at hypersonic speeds, with craft reaching altitudes and velocities previously considered impossible. Site Beta. Directed energy weapons. This site housed the research and development of high-powered laser arrays and microwave emitters, capable of disabling enemy vehicles, radar installations, and incoming missiles. One experiment described a prototype weapon that could melt through reinforced steel at a range of over 10 kilometers. Site Gamma. Stealth and cloaking. Scientists worked on materials that absorb or deflect multiple spectra of detection, including experimental metamaterials designed to bend light around an object, rendering it almost invisible to the naked eye and electronic sensors. Site Delta. Human enhancement. Perhaps the most surprising revelations come from this site, where research into neurological augmentation and biomechanical enhancements for soldiers took place. Files describe early neural implants allowing for faster reflexes and communication with drones, alongside experimental exoskeletons that significantly increased strength and endurance. Site Epsilon. Quantum communications. This site focused on developing encrypted quantum networks to enable secure, instantaneous communication for military operations, bypassing traditional satellites and radio waves. The human cost. Behind the remarkable achievements lies a darker side, as several declassified reports detail the risks and tragedies involved. Test pilots were exposed to extreme conditions, many never returning from experimental flights. Documents reveal failed human enhancement trials that resulted in neurological damage and long-term health consequences for some participants. Whistleblower testimonies included in the files speak of intense pressure to maintain secrecy and warnings against speaking to the media or even family members. Psychological evaluations from former personnel show the lasting effects of the isolation and moral dilemmas experienced during their service at the base. Global implications. The release of these files is shaking up global politics and defense strategies. Allied nations are eager to understand the full scope of America's technological advances, while adversaries are scrambling to assess the capabilities they previously underestimated. Military experts suggest the new knowledge will accelerate global development in hypersonic weapons, directed energy systems, and soldier augmentation programs. The files have also sparked renewed debates about the ethical implications of such powerful technology and the transparency owed to the public. What happens next? The government has pledged to release further documents and allow limited access to independent researchers under strict oversight. However, experts warn that many key elements may remain classified indefinitely for reasons of national security. Public interest in Area 51 has exploded again, with UFO enthusiasts now having to reconsider their narratives in light of these revelations. As the dust settles on decades of secrecy, the true story of Area 51 emerges not as a tale of alien visitors, but as a testament to the extremes of human ingenuity and the lengths to which nations will go to maintain strategic superiority. The newly released files do not just rewrite the story of Area 51 as a military tech hub, they also expose the extent of covert operations that unfolded beneath the desert sands, experiments so advanced and sometimes so ethically ambiguous that they challenge the very boundaries of scientific and moral understanding. The Shadow Network. One of the most startling revelations is the existence of what the documents call the Shadow Network, a hidden infrastructure of underground tunnels, bunkers, and laboratories extending deep below the surface of the Nevada desert. Unlike the familiar hangars and runways visible from satellite images, these subterranean facilities were built to house highly sensitive projects, protected from espionage, sabotage, and even prying eyes from above. The files describe the Shadow Network as a multi-level complex, spanning several square miles. It included secure biolabs where genetic engineering and viral research took place, experimenting with both offensive and defensive applications. Cryogenic chambers for the preservation of biological samples and potentially human subjects. Advanced physics labs exploring exotic energy sources and propulsion systems. Virtual reality simulations designed for training and enhancing cognitive abilities of personnel under extreme conditions. This network was accessible only via biometric locked elevators and concealed entrances, guarded around the clock by special operations forces. Biological enhancements. Beyond the exoskeleton. While the initial files introduced neural implants and mechanical exoskeletons, the Shadow Network files unveil even more extraordinary experiments in biological enhancements. There are references to projects aiming to merge biology with technology, including gene editing trials intended to enhance soldiers' endurance, resistance to extreme environments, and accelerated healing. Synthetic blood and tissue development capable of repairing injuries at an unprecedented speed. Neural interface arrays that create direct communication between the human brain and computerized systems, potentially allowing control of drones or vehicles by thought alone. The documents include test results from experimental subjects, coded with pseudonyms, showing varying degrees of success. However, they also reveal tragic cases where subjects experienced severe side effects, including neurological breakdowns and immune system collapse. A whistleblower report included in the files reveals the existence of a project nicknamed Project Prometheus, an initiative aimed at creating the ultimate soldier through a combination of biological, mechanical, and chemical augmentation. Propulsion breakthroughs. The quantum drive. One of the most tantalizing scientific advances disclosed relates to propulsion technology. The files reveal that Area 51 was the cradle for the development of what is called the quantum drive, a propulsion system that manipulates quantum fields to reduce inertia and gravitational effects. In layman's terms, this technology could enable vehicles to accelerate instantaneously, change directions without the limitations of momentum, and even hover silently, making detection nearly impossible. Test flight logs include reports of prototype vehicles performing impossible maneuvers at extreme altitudes and speeds. Pilots describe sensations akin to slipping through dimensions, hinting at phenomena not fully understood even by the engineers themselves. While the technology is still classified as experimental and not yet deployed operationally, these documents suggest that the foundations for a new era of aerospace travel have already been laid. Directed energy weapons, the future of combat. The files on directed energy weapons reveal an arms race within the Pentagon that many were unaware of. Beyond the development of laser cannons and microwave weapons, research focused on creating scalable, adaptable energy arrays that could be mounted on aircraft, satellites, and even ground vehicles. One experiment detailed in the files, Project Helios, aimed to create a sun in a box, a compact, portable energy source capable of powering high-energy weapons indefinitely without refueling. While the potential military advantages are enormous, the documents reveal concerns from ethical committees within the military about the use of such weapons on civilian populations or in conflict zones, given their potential for catastrophic collateral damage. The alien myth, strategic disinformation. The files include internal memos and strategic documents explaining how the myth of aliens was deliberately cultivated. By attributing sightings of secret experimental craft to extraterrestrial origins, the government aimed to deter foreign intelligence services from discovering actual military breakthroughs, control the narrative and public attention, preventing scrutiny of covert programs, maintain a layer of plausible deniability regarding classified incidents and disappearances. Interestingly, some of the documents suggest that initial rumors of alien technology stemmed from early Cold War paranoia and misinterpreted crash recoveries of advanced prototype craft, not from extraterrestrial encounters. The psychological impact, lives behind the secrets. The files also expose the human toll of such a high-stakes environment. Psychological evaluations, personal letters, and declassified interviews reveal the immense stress and isolation experienced by those working at Area 51. Many operatives describe feelings of being disconnected from reality, burdened by secrecy and the moral ambiguity of their work. Families often received vague or misleading explanations about their loved ones' assignments, leading to decades of confusion and distrust. Several whistleblower accounts describe black ops missions linked to Area 51, where operatives were tasked with recovering or sabotaging rogue technologies, sometimes crossing ethical and legal lines. International reactions and espionage. Global intelligence agencies immediately responded to the document release, with many noting the sophistication and breadth of the revealed technologies. The files confirm that adversaries, particularly Russia and China, had been intensively spying on Area 51 for decades, leading to their own accelerated development programs in hypersonic weapons and cyber warfare. The released documents show instances of espionage attempts thwarted by advanced countermeasures, including AI-driven security and cyber defense systems. The road ahead, transparency versus security. As the public digests these revelations, debates have intensified over how much more the government should disclose. Advocacy groups demand full transparency, while military officials argue that many programs must remain classified to prevent adversaries from gaining access to potentially world-altering technology. Researchers argue that some of the scientific breakthroughs could be redirected toward civilian applications, from clean energy solutions to revolutionary medical treatments. The story of Area 51, as uncovered by these files, is not just about mystery and conspiracy. It is a story of humanity's relentless pursuit of progress, fraught with ethical dilemmas and sacrifices, hidden in the sands of the Nevada desert. With the public digesting the monumental revelations from the Area 51 file release, the true depth of the covert operations hidden beneath the desert sands becomes clearer. Beyond the hypersonic crafts, quantum propulsion, and directed energy weapons lies a shadowy realm of black projects, programs so secret they have remained shrouded in silence, even among many within the military. Black projects, the hidden tier. The files define black projects as initiatives funded with untraceable budgets, often referred to colloquially as black money. These projects operate entirely off the books, bypassing congressional oversight under classified authorizations. Area 51 was a central node for such efforts, functioning both as a development site and as a testing ground. Among the most controversial black projects documented are Project Lazarus, a program investigating the possibility of reanimating biological tissue after death. Experimental trials on animal subjects showed limited success, prompting ethical questions and intense debates among military doctors and scientists. The goal was to explore medical techniques that might save critically injured soldiers on the battlefield. Project Daedalus. Named after the mythological figure who crafted wings to escape imprisonment, this project aimed to develop personal flight apparatuses for soldiers, compact, jet-powered wingsuits that would enable rapid insertion and extraction from combat zones. Though prototypes achieved limited success, test pilots suffered numerous injuries, leading to its eventual suspension. Project Hermes. An initiative to develop advanced AI-driven drone swarms capable of autonomous decision-making in combat scenarios. The program emphasized minimizing human oversight to achieve rapid response times but faced ethical pushback over the risks of machines making life-and-death decisions. The ethics of the unknown. The files include internal memos revealing ongoing ethical debates within the military and scientific communities about the limits of such experiments. Some senior officers expressed deep concern about the potential misuse of biotechnology and AI, fearing that advancements could spiral beyond human control. One memo, dated 1987, quotes a high-ranking official warning, "We are walking a fine line between progress and playing God." The implications of these projects could alter the nature of warfare and humanity itself. The Phantom Craft. Beyond conventional flight. Detailed blueprints and flight logs in the files describe several Phantom Craft prototypes, vehicles unlike anything publicly known. These craft reportedly incorporate the quantum drive technology, but also employ exotic materials harvested from experimental metallurgy labs, including alloys that can withstand immense thermal and electromagnetic stresses. Pilot testimonies describe these vehicles as eerily silent, able to hover in place indefinitely, and capable of near-instantaneous acceleration. Their shapes vary wildly, from sleek, angular designs resembling stealth aircraft to bizarre, organic forms that seem to defy aerodynamics. The files hint at ongoing experiments attempting to combine organic and synthetic components in aircraft design, a field known as bioaerospace engineering. Collaboration with the private sector. Another surprising revelation is the extent of collaboration between Area 51 and private aerospace and tech companies operating under classified contracts. The government enlisted some of the world's leading innovators under strict non-disclosure agreements, funneling funding and intelligence to advance projects at unprecedented speed. Companies mentioned include aerospace giants and emerging tech startups specializing in AI, quantum computing, and material science. These partnerships blurred the lines between public sector research and private innovation, accelerating technological breakthroughs while raising questions about accountability. The media and public relations strategy. The files also provide insight into the government's media strategy regarding Area 51. Rather than attempting to conceal the base's existence, officials deliberately encouraged myths and rumors to confuse and divert public attention. One 1995 memo states, "The alien narrative, while absurd on the surface, is effective in masking our true activities and securing the necessary secrecy." To reinforce this, the government engaged in staged leaks, disinformation campaigns, and manipulated eyewitness accounts, all meticulously coordinated to maintain the cover story. The human dimension. Stories from the desert. The documents include personal accounts from former Area 51 personnel who describe their experiences working on these top-secret projects. Some recall the exhilaration of pushing the boundaries of science, while others recount the psychological strain and moral conflict. A particularly poignant interview with a retired test pilot named John M. reveals his struggle with PTSD after a classified test flight went awry, causing severe injuries and the loss of colleagues. His story humanizes the high stakes and costs behind the gleaming headlines of technological progress. The next frontier, space and beyond. Finally, the files suggest that Area 51 is not just focused on atmospheric and terrestrial technology. There are references to projects investigating space travel propulsion and defense, including experimental satellite platforms armed with directed energy weapons and quantum communication relays designed for deep space missions. This implies that the base is at the forefront of preparing for a future where space is the next battlefield and frontier for technological supremacy. Conclusion: the new truth of Area 51. With these documents now public, the world faces a new understanding of what Area 51 truly represents. It is not merely a symbol of alien folklore, but a testament to human ambition and the complexities of safeguarding a nation's security through unprecedented scientific exploration. Yet, the files leave many questions unanswered. How far will these projects go? What are the long-term consequences of tampering with biology, AI, and quantum physics in the name of defense? And what secrets remain buried in the desert, still locked behind security clearances and classified vaults. The revelation of these files marks the beginning of a new chapter, one where transparency, ethics, and innovation must coexist to navigate the challenges ahead. As the dust settles from the unprecedented release of the Area 51 files, the world begins grappling with the implications of this extraordinary disclosure. The base that inspired endless speculation about aliens and UFOs now stands revealed as a crucible of cutting-edge technology, ethical quandaries, and the raw edges of human ambition. The legacy of innovation. The documents underscore that Area 51's legacy is one of relentless innovation. Technologies that once seemed like science fiction, hypersonic flight, quantum propulsion, directed energy weapons, and neural augmentation, are now firmly within humanity's grasp, thanks to the decades of secret research conducted in the Nevada desert. Many of these breakthroughs have already seeded civilian technologies, albeit covertly. Advances in material science, computing, and medicine trace their roots back to Area 51's laboratories. The military's drive to maintain superiority has propelled human understanding forward, often at a pace far beyond the public's awareness. The cost of secrecy. But innovation came with a steep price. The files reveal countless human sacrifices, psychological burdens, and ethical compromises. The isolation experienced by personnel, the moral dilemmas posed by black projects, and the hidden costs of military experimentation weigh heavily on the conscience of those involved. Critics argue that secrecy, while necessary for national security, has also shielded these programs from public scrutiny and accountability. The ethical implications of augmenting soldiers, developing autonomous weapons, and experimenting on human subjects demand open discourse, discussions that have been stifled for too long. The new era of disclosure. The government's release of these files marks a tentative step toward transparency. It acknowledges the public's right to understand what was once concealed in the name of national security. However, officials maintain that many programs remain too sensitive for full disclosure, citing ongoing threats and international stability. Independent scientists and journalists have begun poring over the documents, sparking new research initiatives and public debates. The balance between transparency and security will define the next era of technological development and governance. The human factor. Amid the revelations about advanced technology, the files remind us that at the heart of Area 51 are people, scientists, engineers, pilots, and soldiers, whose lives were shaped and sometimes scarred by their work. Their stories of dedication, courage, fear, and loss form a poignant backdrop to the cold data and blueprints. Several support organizations have emerged, providing assistance to former personnel suffering from health and psychological issues related to their classified service. These efforts highlight the need for care and recognition of those who have served in silence. What remains hidden? Despite the breadth of the released documents, many secrets remain. Portions of the files are heavily redacted, and entire programs are omitted. Questions linger about the full scope of extraterrestrial research, if any, and the existence of technologies still far beyond public knowledge. The government has pledged further releases under controlled conditions, but the veil of secrecy is unlikely to be fully lifted anytime soon. The mysteries of the desert continue to invite speculation, but now with a clearer understanding grounded in reality rather than myth. The future. From Area 51 to the stars. Looking forward, the files suggest that Area 51's mission is evolving. The base is becoming a hub for preparing humanity's leap into space, where defense, communication, and exploration converge. The integration of quantum technology, AI, and biological science promises to redefine what is possible both on Earth and beyond. As new generations of scientists and military leaders build on these foundations, the story of Area 51 serves as a powerful reminder. Progress often comes from the shadows, shaped by secrecy, sacrifice, and the unyielding drive to explore the unknown. Epilogue. The truth is stranger than fiction. The narrative of Area 51 has finally shifted from alien folklore to the forefront of human ingenuity and ethical complexity. The files show us a world where the line between science and imagination blurs, a place where dreams of flight, power, and transformation have been pursued with uncompromising intensity. The desert still holds its secrets, but the newly released files invite us to reimagine Area 51, not as a lair of extraterrestrial visitors, but as a monument to humanity's highest aspirations and darkest fears. As we face the challenges of the 21st century, the lessons from Area 51 remind us that the future will be shaped not just by what we can invent, but by the choices we make in wielding those inventions.